African Americans in opera and classical music. That's our theme today with Dr. Robert McNichols at Harris-Stowe State University. Today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. As I promised you, Dr. Robert McNichols is my guest today from Harris-Stowe State University. Dr. McNichols, welcome.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be here.
Such a good to be with you. Yeah. You know, you do so much at Harris-Stowe State University and for the community. And I understand you just returned from Kansas City recently.
Yeah, so I recently got engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And she lives in Kansas City, as does my daughter, who is 7. And so we had a great time for the holiday and gifts and all of that, and
wonderful
New Year's celebrations and all of that. And so now back here, getting things lined up and getting ready to roll.
I understand that you're doing a concert soon in February.
Yeah. I'm going to be getting ready for my next concert, which is a recital as part of the Friends of Music concert series. I'm going to be doing Schumann's Dichterliebe. It's a song cycle, about a 15-minute song cycle of German songs, beautiful German songs. And I'm going to be accompanied by Rebecca Keeby, and it's going to be at the Elliott Unitarian Church down off of South Limburg, and it'll be on my social media, Facebook, and all of that to be able to find that information. But yeah, really looking forward to that. I haven't had a chance to perform Dichterliebe in probably over 10 years, but it's really beautiful music.
Let's talk about African Americans in classical music and opera.
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
Well, it's interesting, it's not something you see every day, but there's more of us than you would think. So I'm from St. Louis, and I went to Normandy, and my dad got me involved in classical music when I was in middle school. I grew up a cellist, and I still play. But then the choir teacher there thought I had a nice speaking voice, and he signed me up to be a part of this program with Opera Theater of St. Louis.
Wow, okay.
They gave us voice lessons. I got scholarship money from there, and found several mentors of mine who I still keep in contact with today, who are all men. 2 of them are Omega men like myself, Kevin Short and Morris Robinson, and they're 2 of the most profound operatic basses and bass baritones in the world today. And so, yeah, it just opened my eyes to that. And, I think I was blessed to be able to find that gift of mine and, sort of fall in line with it. But since coming into it, I've learned so much more about the art form and about people involved in it, because you have, like right now at the Metropolitan Opera, you have Porgy and Bess being performed with several of all of the greats from all around the world. Angel Blue singing Bess, and Kevin Short, one of my mentors, he's singing Porgy alongside Eric Owens. Another colleague of mine, Janae, was in the opera Akhenaten, which is a more contemporary show.
Okay.
She's a fantastic mezzo-soprano. Another friend, Will Lieberman, was the first Black man to sing the role of Papageno in Mozart's The Magic Flute. That just happened. All of that's at the Metropolitan Opera, the greatest opera company in the entire world right now, and so, those are some of the things I introduce to my students, just to let them know, hey, we're, the African-American opera community is substantial and active, and to encourage people to just go and see a show, listen to some of these artists.
When can we do that? Because the airwaves are filled with popular music, country music, and hip hop. So is there an outlet for a venue where we can actually listen to classical music, especially African Americans in the genre?
Yes. Here in St. Louis, there's not a huge amount of it going on. That's some of the things that I try to do.
Sure.
I try to bring artists in from around the country who are doing things. I know coming up here pretty soon, my colleague Melody Wilson is going to be here performing Opera Theater of St. Louis. They did the world premiere of Fire Shut Up in My Bones last season. That opera is going to be the first one performing, the first opera by a Black composer at the Met coming up here pretty soon. So they've done some good things. I try to be a good advocate for it as much as I possibly can by letting people know of the opportunities to hear artists that are going on, to present artists myself, and then of course my performing.
Well, let's hear some of your performance right now. Let's understand that you'll be performing this on the 16th, this particular piece?
So not this particular piece, but this piece is just a well-known aria from the opera Le Nozze di Figaro, The Marriage of Figaro, by Mozart. And it's called Se vuol ballare.
Okay, let's listen to it.
Se vuol ballare, signor Contino, se vuol ballare, signor Contino, il chitarrino le suonerò, il chitarrino le suonerò, sì, le suonerò, sì, le suonerò. Se vuol venire nella mia scuola, la campiola le insegnerò. Se vuol venire nella mia scuola, la campiola le insegnerò, sì, le insegnerò, sì, le insegnerò. Saprò, ma piano. Meglio allargando, dissimulando, scopi potrò. L'alza somendo, l'arrobando, di capogendo, di l'accessando, tutte le macchine rovescerò. L'alza somendo, l'arrobando, di capogendo, di l'accessando, tutte le macchine rovescerò. Tutte le macchine rovescerò. Tutte le macchine rovescerò. Se vuol ballare, signor Contino, se vuol ballare, signor Contino, il chitarrino le suonerò, il chitarrino le suonerò, sì, le segnerò, sì, le suonerò.
Well, that was some kind of voice that you have there, Robert.
Thank you.
This is really great.
Yeah, I've been singing that one for a long time. I haven't had the opportunity to do the role, but certainly I've always loved Mozart's operas. One of the greatest in history. And happy to come and share.
I want to come back and talk about how you embrace the music and how we can embrace it, and a little bit more about you and also the music itself.
Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, we're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Reverend Larry Rice has been doing what he does for nearly 50 years. And the community needs the New Life Evangelistic Center. Reverend Rice is trying to reopen 1411 Locust Street, downtown St. Louis, Missouri, but in the meantime, those services have been transferred to here, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And we need your help and we need your support because so much going on here. So much going on. The energy saving program. There's a petition also going around being distributed to reopen the New Life Evangelistic Center. But we need your help and support. You can help New Life through a tax-free donation at Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri 63166, or online at www.newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. And that's one word. Everything is tax deductible, and every nickel, every dollar, every penny goes to help those in need. We'll be back with Dr. Robert McNichols after this.
An epidemic of homelessness is sweeping throughout the United States of America. In city after city, people are ending up on the streets. Now, instead of feeling overwhelmed, as believers, we can do three things. We can give, we can volunteer, and we can pray. We can pray for the homeless refugees that we're finding in one city after another, all over the United States. So many people ending up out on the streets, and the hearts of so many are growing cold at this particular time and indifferent to the need. Jesus said, as oft as you've done it to the least of these, he said, even so you've done it unto me. When's the last time you've prayed for the homeless refugees in the United States of America, appearing in city after city, not only in major cities, but even smaller cities? So many people ending up out on the streets, even in resort areas, places you never think you'd find homeless people. They're there. Jesus said, foxes have holes and birds have nests, but he, the Son of Man, had nowhere to lay his head. Please pray for the refugees. Please pray for the homeless people in America. And pray for those that are on the front lines, the first responders, reaching out through Jesus Christ among the homeless and hurting, whether it's in Springfield or St. Louis. Your prayers and gifts to the New Life Evangelistic Center makes a big difference. This New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, is 63166.
Thanks to New Life Evangelistic Center, thousands of mothers with children around the world can stay together. They can pursue their educations, and they grow in grace and in the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you to all of our Club 24 members who make this miracle happen.
And welcome back. My guest is Dr. Robert McNichols. Dr. McNichols is an instructor at Harris-Stowe State University. Bob, what do you do these at Harris-Stowe?
Several different things, primarily teaching music appreciation courses, including African-American music and basic music. I've also been using that as an opportunity to enrich the musical life on campus. I've been curating a small concert series that's in collaboration with the African-American Music Appreciation class to be able to show the students live demonstrations of what they're reading about on the pages. Mm-hmm. Also was working to try to revive some of the music programming on campus, and those things are still in the works, but we did produce the first musical at Harris-Stowe State University in over 36 years, wow. Which was Dreamgirls last year, and partnering with Mr. Greg Carr in the theater department to do that. And of course, doing your basic counseling with students to help them on their way.
How do you define African American music?
It's all encompassing. The African American Music Appreciation class that I've been teaching, and my research involved with that, has even broadened my own eyes about the historical significance that African Americans have had on music. Period. Not just when we talk about African American music, we tend to just segment that to the popular music genres sure. that you hear. But the truth of the matter is that people of African descent, I will say, have been largely involved in the development of all musical genres. When you look at classical music, one of the fundamental instruments of classical music is the piano. Mm-hmm. The piano is an instrument that was created in Africa, the fingered piano. Sure. And so, and then you can also look at orchestral instruments like the violin, viola, cello, and bass. All of those are in the viola da gamba family. The viola da gamba dates back to African instruments like the djembe, I believe it is, and yes, those string sure. instruments. And so the first chapter in the textbook that we use for African American music is African traditions, mm-hmm. and these are some of the things that we talk about. And so no one really makes that correlation, but when you look at that, and that's not just my research, that's the research that Dr. Eileen Southern did for this textbook. And when you look at that and then really take that into context, and then from there begin to look at other people who were involved in the development of classical music. Facts that we know that no one talks about, like Beethoven is of Moorish descent. His mother was a Moor,
Right, he's
which
black.
means that he's black,
Sure.
right? That sort of thing. But they colored his pictures,
Certainly.
to make him. Also, at the time of Mozart, there were people like Chevalier de Saint-Georges, who they nicknamed the Black Mozart, even though during Mozart's time he was more popular than Mozart. And when you listen to their music now, you can just compare apples to apples, and you can see the genius of his music. So becoming more aware of that sort of information really, I think, helps to sort of set the background and say, wow, people of African descent were hugely involved. And then when you take that to American music, you can see how that it influenced virtually every major genre of music in this country, whether it's country music, rock and roll, and then soul, R&B, rap, hip hop, et cetera.
When we think about classical music in the African American community, we're talking about Paul Robeson, and Grace Bumbry and so forth.
Yes.
But there's so many more that we don't know about. Right?
I mean, so many more. I mean, Grace Bumbry, who was here. Another St. Louis person people don't talk about a lot is Robert McFerrin.
Yes, McFerrin.
The father of Bobby McFerrin. Robert McFerrin, fantastic baritone, the first African-American man to sing at the Metropolitan Opera, which is, of course...
And the St. Louis.
Yeah, and the St. Louis, and went to the same school with Grace Bumbry, and actually has an honorary doctorate from Harris-Stowe.
Wow.
Yeah, an honorary one. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how can we reach you and get more information about what you do and the upcoming concert?
So first, go to my website. I'm always updating things there.
Say it real slow so we can see it.
Yes, absolutely. www.RobertMcNicholsJr, and that's just JR.com. Also on Facebook.com/RMcNicholsJr. And also you can just call me, 816-210-4080.
Say that again for me.
Again, my phone is 816-210-4080.
They get you directly there.
Yeah, and I teach voice lessons. I conduct. I'm a musical director. I'm a producer to be able to produce musicals, concerts, and et cetera. And of course, I am a performer, so happy to come and do whatever sort of performing needs that may be necessary.
For African Americans, or you want to embrace the genre, when they come to see you perform, or some others that you just mentioned, are they enlightened, or are they surprised, or what? What's the general feeling?
Yes, actually, it's funny. So, like myself and other, African American classical performers that I know, we're very versatile, right? I wasn't raised singing opera. I was raised listening to R&B, blues, jazz, like everyone else. So I have that side of me also. So I think people are very surprised because in the same program, you might hear German, French, Italian classical music, but then you could also hear English R&B songs, jazz selections, musical theater selections. So they're very surprised, especially a lot of my students at Harris-Stowe, because, of course, the majority of the time they see me, I'm lecturing in the classroom, right? And so last semester I gave a recital in collaboration with Greg Carr. He helped me do that to be able to sing some spiritual concerts, and my colleague, adjunct instructor, participating in that with me also. And my students had never seen me perform, and they
didn't know you had a life, did they?
They had no idea. And it was so funny. The majority, I make them write a review, and the majority of them, they said in that review, I was only coming because it was for a grade. I didn't want to be there, but once I got there, the music was so beautiful. The performers were so passionate, and they really enjoyed themselves. And so, there's something about classical music that it has to be experienced. It is a visceral experience where the sound affects you physically when the sound touches you. And so it's a different scenario to be in the room and hear a live, acoustic, powerful classical sound. And so, that's the big thing that I encourage a lot of our, community members to do. You need to be in the room, because if you're just listening to it on the radio, you can get a concept for it, but it is a different animal when you can experience that sound live.
Okay. Do you get community support?
You know, I have had some, and I'm looking for more. I was fortunate enough to be a grant recipient with the Regional Arts Commission, one of their artist grant recipients that was hugely helpful in producing programs.
Sure.
And I'm continuing to apply for different grants as well, and different funding, and seeking private donors to be able to support some of the community programming that I try to do. But yeah, always looking for more support to be able to continue to not only support other artists, but present programming that I think the community would really enjoy.
You mentioned that you were an Manga Man when you came here.
Yeah.
I had Lewis Cross here one time, and he's an Omega too, and I saw your color, your purple there.
Yes,
and
just a little.
I was teasing him, asking was he a Kappa, and he almost choked. Yeah, he almost strangled. So I won't do that to you. Okay?
Right year, but wrong frat.
Right.
That's what I tell them all the time. I was like, y'all, it's almost there, but not quite.
Dr. Robert McNichols is my guest. And you see these wonderful mugs on the table. Here's from Harris-Stowe State University mug. This is Webster University mug, and this is the Bernie Hayes Show mug. And I would like for you to have one, and Reverend Larry Rice would like for you to have one, and here's a way for you to receive one and help the Life Evangelistic Center.
The Bernie Hayes program is produced at NLEC TV right here at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. It's our new headquarters since they closed the 1411 Locust building. We're working to get back into that building. In addition to that, trying to help so many people through a wide variety of safe houses, training programs, transportation assistance, so many ways people are getting help because of all of you that are supporting the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. Now, if you'll send a gift of $25 or more, we want to send you this special, the Bernie Hayes Show cup. And we're giving that to people as just a way of saying thank you. So when you send your gift, request a cup. We'll be happy to get it off to you. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. You can give online at nlecstl.org. Now I'm really asking all of you to join us in praying. The needs are so phenomenal at this particular time. So many hurting and homeless people are contacting us daily, but we're able to help them because of each one of you that are praying, caring, and sharing at this time. Tell your families and friends about NLEC TV and get directly involved yourself.
We'll return to our guest after this Black History Moment. Today's feature, Richard Durham, born in Mississippi, 1917, moved to Chicago at the age of 6 with his family. He'd go on to write and produce a groundbreaking Destination Freedom, a radio drama that featured characters calling for equality a decade before the Civil Rights Movement. After World War II, Durham wrote for a weekly drama on WBBM Chicago called Democracy USA and created the first soap opera focused on African-American family, Here Comes Tomorrow, on WJJD Chicago. From 1948 to 1950, Durham used the weekly Destination Freedom to fight the stereotypes of African-Americans in the media. His inventive scripts highlighted the accomplishments of black leaders throughout history, including Harriet Tubman, Jackie Robinson, and Ida B. Wells. Durham's recurring theme of social and economic freedom was a revolutionary idea rarely heard on the radio at that time. Richard Durham died April 27, 1984. Richard Durham.
Now is the time to pray. And as you're praying, please remember New Life Evangelistic Center and its daily work among the hurting, the hungry, and the homeless. Remember the Bible, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be opened to you.
And welcome back. My guest, Dr. Robert McNichols. He's a conductor, he's a performer, he's an instructor, teaching at Harris-Stowe State University, but also an upcoming concert, classical musical concert. Was an operatic concert that's coming up on February the 16th.
Yes.
Operatic or classical?
It is. So Sunday, February the 16th, Elliott Unitarian Church in Kirkwood. I'm going to be...
Elliott Unitarian Church in Kirkwood.
In Kirkwood.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing a dual recital with one of my old teachers. So Her name is Beverly, and she's a cellist. She was my cello instructor when I was in
call
high
her
school.
former teacher. Don't call her old.
My former teacher. I would never do that.
Yes.
My former teacher, yes. So she's going to do half of the recital, and it's part of the Friends of Music concert series. And
Okay.
I did a recital last year with them on African American composers, and they invited me back to do something. And so, the song cycle Dichterliebe by Schumann. Of course, it's German, but we'll have a program with all of the translations so everyone can understand all of the words that's been said, and accompanied by my friend and colleague Rebecca Keeby on the piano. Beautiful, beautiful music. And just it's a lovely chapel that we perform in also, and the concert is free. I don't think I mentioned that. It's free of charge, and so if you go to my website,
which we should show right now, your website and your emails and your phone numbers.
It'll be there. Okay. So you can go to RobertMcNicholsJr.com, or Facebook.com/R McNichols Jr.
Okay. And your phone number?
And you can give me a call, and I could get your email address or tell you more about it directly, 816-210-4080.
Can they reach you at Harris-Stowe also?
Yeah, I can be reached at Harris-Stowe. Mine is a weird number at Harris-Stowe. It's 314-446-8994. They just redid the offices up there, so hopefully the phone is back connected.
This is wonderful. Dr. McNichols, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. And for a young man growing up in St. Louis, hearing hip-hop, hearing rock, roll, hearing blues, hearing soul, and you embrace the classical genre. And you're performing. I mean, the performance that you give, I've heard you so many times. I'm just thrilled. I mean, you have so much talent, and this has to be exposed. People have to know what to do when they come to see you.
No, again, my pleasure. Thank you so much for all that you do, supporting the arts, presenting your concert series as well at Harris-Stowe. I send my students to it all the time, and thank you again for helping me and inviting me to be a part of the show.
Well, do you see the genre expanding? Do you see classical music for African Americans expanding?
I do, with all of the talent that is now. I mean, it's not so the old ideal that opera was old, overweight, white singers. Is not the case. They are young, they are strong, they are vibrant, they are beautiful voices, strong musicians. And I mean, can be found everywhere. Here in St. Louis, we have great things. Kansas City is great things. New York, there's things everywhere. There's an ensemble here in town, several ensembles in town that several of my colleagues are involved with as well, and I promote their things also. So no, there's definitely a vibrant future for African Americans in the field of classical music. So,
do you also sing pop, Bob?
I do. I do a little cabaret show where I play cello and sing cover songs like our R&B songs and folk songs, musical theater songs also. So yeah, I do swing into popular music genres also. That's absolutely.
Great. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here today, and I want people to kind of follow up and perhaps see you on February the 16th. What's the name of the church?
Elliott Unitarian Church.
In Kirkwood. Elliott Unitarian Church in Kirkwood. And I also want to say, when that happens, February the 16th, I sincerely hope it's going to be successful for you. But I mean, they can always call you at Harris-Stowe State University, and I just want to say thank you so very,
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you again.
It's always a pleasure seeing you, and your students are there. They're so wonderful and so inquisitive.
Oh yes, and then like sending them down there to the Wolf Jazz Institute so they can see it and get their hands on it and learn it.
That's great. Yeah. And we're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Reverend Larry Rice and his staff are waiting for you. It's called New Life because it provides new life for so many people. Help us. We need your help and support. 2428 Woodson Road, Overland, Missouri. 314-436-3020. I'm Bernie Hayes. Have a great day.